Want to welcome everybody here today. My name is Jordan Hess. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for Washington City. Excited to have all of you in attendance today. We have so many people that I can barely see everyone back there, but we're so glad you're here today. We're here today to unveil the bronze statue of Malinda Allison Kelley Covington by sculptor Jerry Anderson, who's here with us today. Malinda will represent the pioneer women who were called to the Dixie Cotton Mission. She will stand proudly right here amongst these men, and together the men and women helped flourish and fill this desert land. And what they laid the foundation for has become the Washington City of today. They did it through strength, sacrifice, and spirit. They settled the beautiful city of Washington where Dixie began. And we're excited to have all of you here today. We're especially grateful to have our Lieutenant Governor with us today, Deidre Henderson. And I just want to tell you, she is a phenomenal Lieutenant Governor. Who needs a governor when you've got a Lieutenant Governor like Deidre Henderson? We're so grateful to have her with us today, and the important work that she does in the Lieutenant Governor's office to make sure that, one, our elections are free and fair, and she does a great job at that, and two, she's a great ambassador for the state of Utah, and so thank you for being here today. We're going to start with a dedicatory prayer by Elder Stephen E. Snow, and before he comes up to give that prayer, it's important that we know just how great of a man we have in our presence here. Elder Snow served as a General Authority 70 of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from March of 2001 until October of 2019, at which time he was given emeritus status. From 2012 to 2019, he served as the church historian and recorder and executive director of the church history department. He served as a member of the presidency of the 70 from 2007 till 2012, which included supervisory responsibility for the Utah areas as well as the North America Central area. He also served as executive director of the priesthood and family department and as president of the Africa Southeast area. Prior to his call to serve as a full-time general authority of the church, he was a senior partner in the Utah law firm Snow Neufer and served as attorney for the city of Washington. Elder Snow has been actively involved in supporting education, having served as a member and president of his local school board, chairman of the Utah State Board of Regents, and chairman of the Western States Commission of Higher Education. He's a St. George, Utah native. He attended Dixie College, earned his bachelor's degree from Utah State, and his law degree from Brigham Young University, so he's got the whole state covered. He served in several church callings, including a full-time missionary in the North German mission, so I think that music was actually just for you. He served as a bishop, stake president, president of the California San Fernando Mission, Area 70 in the 5th Quorum of the 70. He was born in St. George. He married Phyllis Squire in June 1971. They're parents of 4 sons, but the most important thing is that he and Phyllis raised their children right here in Washington City. So Elder Snow, if you'd like to give the dedicatory prayer. Thank you.
Let me just say how grateful I am to be here today and to take part in this wonderful celebration. I'm so thrilled that we honor the women who came in 1857 to help settle this beautiful part of the world. Probably didn't look too beautiful to them at the time. They were probably worried about what they were going to eat the next meal. I've often wondered why we don't celebrate more women in our history, and I've concluded that they were too busy taking care of all the responsibilities of home and farm and ranch, and the men had the time to keep the journals that we review today. But I love the words of the author Wallace Stegner, who said, to paraphrase him, he said, Mormon men were strong, but Mormon women were incredible. And I truly believe that. And if you'll bear with me now, we'll give a dedicatory prayer. Our Father in heaven, on this beautiful spring afternoon, We gather here to honor those who have made this afternoon and day possible, and particularly to dedicate the statue of Malinda Allison Kelley Covington, one of thy valiant daughters who came here with family and helped settle this part of Zion. We're grateful for her example, for all she did in raising her posterity. And we pray now that this beautiful statue, sculpted by our friend and well-known brother Jerry Anderson, that it'll be respected and treated well by all who come to visit, and it'll be a safe place for it here in this at the old school here in Washington, and that many will contemplate on the role of women in the settlement of Utah's Dixie and the West in general. We're grateful for all those who have made this day possible, who have generously contributed resources to make this happen. We're also grateful for those who've come to support this event and to enjoy the unveiling of this statue. We're thankful for those who lead this city, who take their time to volunteer and to serve in city council, mayor positions. We're grateful for their leadership, their foresight, and we pray that thou will be with them and bless them as they continue in their responsibilities. Now, please bless this spot as a place of safety and refuge for this beautiful statue that we will soon see. We're grateful again for all those who have dedicated their time and talents to make this happen. And for this we pray gratefully in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Elder Snow, for that beautiful prayer. We're now going to proceed with a flag presentation, a national anthem, and a pledge. Our flag presentation, in order to honor Malinda Allison Kelley Covington's service with the Mormon Battalion. Attachment Company A in 1846 are the color guards consisting of Phil and Adam Baker. Phil serves as Dixie Company Commander and Southern Division Commander of the present-day U.S. Mormon Battalion, Incorporated, an auxiliary organized to honor those who served. As they come, please stand. We will then have a national anthem performed by Dr. Melissa Hinton. Melissa is a local Southern Utah girl raised right up the street in Cedar City. She performs vocally, plays the piano, and has been in several theater and musical endeavors since childhood. She's performed in countless venues, choral works, and musical theater throughout Utah, the United States, and Italy. Next, we'll have a pledge by Brad Coleman, a sergeant with Washington City Police Department. Those of you who are unaware, on March 14th, he had a severe motorcycle accident. Washington City Police Chief Jason Williams said, "He's not one to give up," and that character came through in this scenario. When Brad puts his mind to something, he wants to give it his best. He will be leading us in the pledge today. So now we'll have the flag presentation, our national anthem, and a pledge by Brad Coleman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets would gleam, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You can all be seated. Thank you. It's now my privilege to introduce to you all our mayor, Mayor Cress Staley. He was born and raised right here in Washington City. Stan and Gayla Dawn were his parents, and W.W. and Karma Staley were his grandparents. He is a fourth-generation mayor of Washington City. He is homegrown, and the love of this city shows in everything that he does. He is a mayor who is preserving history and cultivating the future through his service as our Washington City mayor, and it's my privilege to turn the time over to him.
Thank you, Jordan. Elder Snow, thank you so much. Beautiful prayer. Thank you, Phil and Adam Baker with the Mormon Battalion. Thank you, Dr. Hinton. Beautiful. And Sergeant Coleman, outstanding. You look great in that uniform. It's now my opportunity to introduce the special guests that are here today. And first of all, we're just grateful for a standing room only crowd here on this special corner. I'd like to give some special recognition to our Lieutenant Governor, Deidre M. Henderson, Elder Stephen E. Snow, the Priscilla Cahoon family. Brad and Barbara are here today. Each of our state senators, Don Ipson, Evan J. Vickers, and Darren Owens. We appreciate your service and you making the effort to be here today, gentlemen. We appreciate our local representation on the Hill, Representatives Colin W. Jack, R. Neil Walters, and Walt Brooks. And Joseph Elison. We appreciate all of you being here, each of you being here. We welcome and appreciate our county commissioners, Victor Iverson, Gil Almquist, and Adam Snow. We appreciate the Washington City Council and the dedication and service that they give to this city. Kurt Ivey, Kim Casperson, Ben Martinson, Craig Coates, and Brett Henderson, who is traveling for a funeral, or else he would have been here as well. Appreciate the service of our city manager, Jeremy Redd, and our city attorney, Thad Segmiller. Now, this special corner, we refer to it sometimes as the Pioneer Plaza. And this special place is a result of past Mayor Terrell Clove I appreciate him making the effort to be here today, and I appreciate his vision for this area and for all of the service that he's rendered for many years. We appreciate Lieutenant Corey Klotz here, representing Washington City PD. Appreciate Fire Chief Matt Evans, representing Washington City Fire. We're grateful for Sergeant Brad Coleman. We appreciate your recovery. Want to recognize our Leisure Services Director, Barry Blake, and Leisure Services Assistant Directors, Cole Staley and Paul Walker, and their staff. If you look around these grounds, they're absolutely beautiful. If you haven't seen the flowers on the other side of the old school, take a moment and do that before you leave today. I'd like to thank our event coordinator, Katie Polson, for her work. Our Cotton Days chairwoman, Sherry Lou Staley Tate. Our Cotton Days Grand Marshal, Gail Cooper Smith. Appreciate the service and work of President of the Washington Area Chamber, Ed Tracy, and the President of the St. George Area Chamber, Sean Christensen, both of whom are here today. We're grateful for the leaders of the Southwest Church Historic Mission, President Thomas and Sister Pamela Need. And I was grateful to be able to give them a tour of the Covington home a few weeks ago. I'd also like to recognize and thank for the service our Washington Historical Society President Mike Harless. Recognize George and Kathy Staley for their service here in the old school, which is now one of the finest and best kept secrets of a museum around. Our president of the Washington City Lions Club, Kate Hoff. The Arts Council representative, Melanie Olson. And our Washington City Youth Council Mayor, Sidney Beecher. And the Washington City Youth Council Advisor, Carmen Snow, without whom this special occasion and this statue would not have occurred. Yes. And we appreciate the talent and presence of Jerry Anderson, the sculptor, the artist, and his beautiful wife, Fawn, along with those who helped him create and place the statue, Lakota John and Dolian Anderson. Now, a round of applause for all of those individuals and the talent and the effort that made this happen. It's now my privilege to introduce the Cotton Days chairwoman, Sherry Lou Staley Tate, born and raised here in Washington. Sherry Lou, sometimes better known as Farmer Sherry. She and her husband Mike own and operate Staley Family Farms, where many annual and amazing events are held. She is a mover and a shaker, to say the least. It was a dream come true when she opened the silo, where her and Mike sell their home-raised beef along with local and Utah products. She presently serves as the Washington County Farm Bureau President and the State Ag Education Board Chair. Saying that Sherry Lou loves Washington, its heritage and traditions, is a major understatement. She helps keep everything in Washington alive. In fact, I often refer to her as the heartbeat. Much of the work that she does goes behind the scenes, unnoticed and unthanked. But today, it is my pleasure to introduce Sherry, it's her honor to be the chairperson for Cotton Days this year. Sherry Lou.
Thank you, Chris. It's an honor to be here this afternoon. Our theme for Cotton Days is strength, sacrifice, and spirit, because it portrays pioneer women that were the helpmeet alongside their men. They were hardworking pioneer women who grew strong. They held true and faithful to their mission to build up Zion and to see Washington City grow. We feel our theme also represents the person who I am honored to introduce to you today. She will be serving as our Grand Marshal for Cotton Days. She has the same grit, spirit, and determination as the pioneer women that came before her, Mrs. Gail Cooper Smith. Gail Cooper Smith, born in St. George, Utah, reared in Washington City, a 7-generation Dixieite. She graduated from Dixie High School, Dixie Junior College. She was the women's ICAC basketball. She played on the women's ICAC basketball team. She put in the winning foul shot to bring home to Dixie the championship from the BYU Invitational. She graduated from BYU in physical education with a minor in history. There she excelled in track and field, holding the long jump record for many years, and was also a member of the BYU's softball, volleyball, and basketball teams. She taught school at Ben Lomond High School in Ogden and Woodward Junior High in St. George. She served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in London, England. She coached basketball at Centerville Junior High and had 3 regional championships. She coached youth teams, city and church for 30 years in California, Oregon, Hawaii, and Utah. She organized the Centerville Youth Basketball Program for elementary age girls, touching lives of over 300 girls. She later turned it over to the Junior Jazz. Together with her husband Hiram, they presided over the California Ventura Mission. She and her husband Hiram Smith was instrumental in founding the Franklin Quest Company, now known as the Franklin Covey Company. She is an author of the book Shadow Fall, The Importance of Family Values Being Passed On to the Next Generation, plus many short stories that have been published. She is a Gift Board member, responsible for organizing the Governor's Initiative on Family Convention held here in St. George. In 2005, she served on the Virgin River Santa Clara River Flood Relief Board of Trustees, raising several million dollars to help families that lost their homes in the flood. She was awarded an honorary doctorate degree from Dixie State University in 1995. She's a member of the Dixie State University Hall of Fame in 2000 and Dixie State Athletic Hall of Fame in 2007. Awarded the Boy Scouts of America Silver Beaver Award. She is the co-founder of the Tuacahn Center of the Arts. She was a member of the Dixie State University Board of Trustees for 9 years. Gail and her late husband, Hiram Smith, are the parents of 6 children, 24 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. She says she enjoys watching her grandchildren participate in high school sports, volleyball, basketball, soccer, and swimming. Her children and their successes are her claim to fame. We are honored to have Gail Cooper Smith as this year's Grand Marshal. Will you come on up here, Gail? We're actually going to make her an official Cotton Days volunteer. Kidding. And we have this plaque here, but we are really honored to have Gail. She is a mover and a shaker, and she's taught a lot of us a lot of things. So thank you. We're honored. And you'll see her throughout the weekend in the parade. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sherry Lou. It's my honor now to introduce Lieutenant Governor Deidre M. Henderson. Deidre M. Henderson became Utah's 9th Lieutenant Governor on January 4th, 2021. As Lieutenant Governor, she is Utah's Chief Election Officer and serves as Secretary of State. Lieutenant Governor Henderson has dedicated her time in office to removing barriers to success for all Utahns, ensuring that elections are well run, and bolstering the state's relationship with Native American tribes. In politics, Lieutenant Governor Henderson stands by the wisdom of the U.S. Constitution, free markets, fiscal conservatism, federalism, and the blessings of freedom and liberty. A mother of 5 adult children, Lieutenant Governor Henderson spent her 20s wiping her children's noses and bottoms, and helping put her husband Gabe through school. She dropped out of college during her first year at BYU to raise a family. in Spanish Fork. Before Utahns elected her as the second highest official in the Beehive State, she served 8 years in the Utah Senate representing South Utah County. As a senator, Henderson built a reputation as a strong conservative and champion of women and families, a consensus seeker. Lieutenant Governor Henderson assembles every point of view to find solutions. She is a staunch advocate for expanding opportunities for all Utahns. While in office, she created Return Utah, a first-in-the-nation state program for Utahns who have been out of the workforce for an extended period. Return Utah helps people gain relevant experience as they re-enter the workforce. The Lieutenant Governor works closely with Utah's 8 federally recognized Native American tribes on infrastructure, education, healthcare, and economic development issues. For example, Lieutenant Governor Henderson's work with leaders from the Navajo Nation, state government, San Juan County, and Blanding City helped to secure a deal to bring running water to the Digne community of Westwater. Lieutenant Governor Henderson has a passion for history and stands on the shoulders of Utah's many history-making women, like Sarah Young Ford, Martha Hughes Cannon, Becky Lockhart, Alberta Henry, and so many more. While in Washington City last fall, she joined the City Youth Council and City Council on a live tour of the Covington home. And she was very impressed with its history. We were impressed with her graciousness and the engaging way in which she answered questions from the youth and inspired our youth council. While as Lieutenant Governor, she returned to college and earned a bachelor's degree in history from Brigham Young University. Lieutenant Governor Henderson loves theater, history, and rural Utah. She hopes to improve how Utahns respond to domestic violence. Henderson and her husband Gabe reside in Spanish Fork and spend as much time as possible with their children, 3 sons-in-law, and 2 adorable grandsons. We love that one of her daughters and family live right here in Washington City. Lieutenant Governor.
Wow. Thanks, Mayor. You're hired. Very nice. I'm going to try to put this here. Maybe. Can you hear me? Okay. I just kissed the microphone, so just fair warning to whoever's speaking next. I'm Deidre Henderson, Utah's 9th Lieutenant Governor, second woman in the state's history to hold this position. And I want to just take a minute to have everybody look around. This is a nice, busy, loud, vibrant street behind us. And it's just striking as I've done a little bit of reading and research on the history of Washington City, how different it is now than it was a long time ago, back when Malinda Covington and her family and others were here. Very, very different. In fact, this is great. Okay, this is good stuff. That is actually really cool. I hope you guys never get rid of that bell. That's amazing. Okay. In fact, this was more of a place where people were called and tried to survive rather than a place where they would come to try to prosper. And that's the theme that I saw running through I have read about Washington City. Not only trying to grow cotton, grow crops, tame the water, either not enough water or too much water. And it was such a challenge here. One of the people that I read about said that the winds The winds often blew through the gaps in their homes and in their doors and in their windows. It poured gray, sandy dust over everything. It left a layer of grit on the milk in the cellar, on the cream in the jar for churning, on dishes in the cupboard, and over all the furniture. There was sand in the water buckets, the drinking dipper, the milk pails, and pans set out to sun, on floors and on the windowsills. It filled one's eyes and ears and gritted one's teeth. I can't even imagine how awful that was. And yet, the grit, the determination, the resilience of the people of Washington City survived to this very day. A Spanish philosopher said, "Show me what you pay attention to, and I'll tell you who you are." The mayor mentioned that last summer I came here and I visited the Covington home. And I had a wonderful tour from Carmen. Well, Carmen wasn't Carmen. Carmen was Malinda. And the Washington City Youth Council and city council members and the mayor. And it was so incredible. What you have here in Washington City is unique. Not everyone pays attention to the women who helped build up their communities. Because, as Elder Snow said, the women were busy, and maybe they didn't always keep the diaries or didn't appear in the minutes of the public meetings, but they were there, side by side, arm in arm, plowing fields, tending children, growing crops, spinning fabric, making clothing, giving birth, laying out the dead, doing all of the things that they could to survive and to thrive. A few years ago, I went to Washington, D.C. I've been many, many times before, but on this trip, I actually went to the Library of Congress. And I had never been to the Library of Congress before. It's an incredibly beautiful building. But I noticed in the reading room, there are all these statues around. And there were actually 8 or 16 statues of men, bronze statues of men such as Plato, Moses, Beethoven, Sir Isaac Newton, these incredible men who have contributed to history. And then there were 8 statues of women, plaster statues of women. These women, though, they weren't real women. They were allegorical women. They were embodiments, representations of civic virtues, such as the arts, history, commerce, law. They weren't real women, and it bothered me. And I thought, well, there have got to be real women around here somewhere, because I know there are real women who are worthy of being embodied in a statue or represented. So I looked around the Library of Congress. I couldn't find a single real woman in that building. I started looking around Washington, D.C., and I could find very few real women represented in Washington, D.C. And it bothered me, because what we pay attention to tells us about who we are. And I honor today Malinda Covington for her sacrifice, her dedication. And it's wonderful that we are honoring her with a statue, but even more, we're honoring all women who came to Washington and worked hard and sacrificed and had babies die and had husbands leave for missions or to work in the ditches and the fields, who had to carry on business. They had to do all of the things that their families needed them to do. And they get forgotten about. And it's wonderful to see Washington City remember the women on whose shoulders we all stand. And I'm grateful to be here today to dedicate this statue of an amazing woman, a pioneer in every sense of the word, who helps us remember who we are as a people through her sacrifice, her resilience, her grit, her spirit. We can remember that we share those values, we embody those values too. Thank you so much.
Now, the moment that we have all been waiting for, if we could get the following people to go back here by where the statue is, we'll unveil the statue. Mayor Cress Daly, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, Jerry and Fawn Anderson, Priscilla Cahoon family, our Mayor of the Washington City Youth Council, Sidney Beecher, Washington City Youth Council Advisor Carmen Snow, Cotton Days Grand Marshal Gail Cooper Smith. Elder Snow, you join us.
I'd like everyone to have a chance to pull on. Everyone. This is a group effort. Forward. Everyone. On. Count us down. Carmen, do the honors.
1, for your count, just breathe. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
So there is a plaque that's been ordered that will be placed in front of Malinda. And I'm going to go ahead and read what will be on that plaque when it arrives. But before I do that, I could have listened to the Lieutenant Governor for 15 more minutes. Wasn't she amazing? Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Henderson. Malinda Allison Kelley Covington, 1815 to 1894, second wife of Robert Dockery Covington, representing the strength, sacrifice, and spirit of the Dixie Cotton Mission pioneer women. Helped meet with their husbands that settled Washington City in 1857. Malinda also served in Mormon Battalion Attachment Company A, stationed in Pueblo, Colorado, in the winter of 1846. Erected by Washington City Rap Tax, citizens, Lions Club, and businesses of the community, Historical Society, and the Washington City Youth Council during Cotton Days, April 24th, 2023, sculpture by Jerry Anderson. It's my privilege at this time to present the Lieutenant Governor a reminder of this day and of the strength, sacrifice, and spirit that she embodies today that she can keep in her office at the Capitol. We also have two more things for her. This is a commemorative coin for her. Is it one of a kind, Carmen? It's one of a kind. It says, Malinda Unveiled, Strength, Sacrifice, and Spirit, April 24, 2023. And lastly, a pin with the picture of Malinda. At this time, we will have a song, Once I Lived in Cottonwood, by Brett Thompson, accompanied by Red Rocks Bluegrass Band. Take it away, Brad.
Oh, once I lived in Cottonwood and owned a little farm. But I was called to Dixie, which did me much alarm. To raise the cane and cotton, I right away must go. But the reasons why they called on me, I'm sure I do not know. I yoked old Jim and Bolly up, all for to make a start. To leave my house and garden, it almost broke my heart. We moved along quite slowly and often looked behind, for the sand and rocks of Dixie kept running through my mind. At length we reached the Black Ridge, where I broke my wagon down. I could not find a carpenter so far from any town. So with a clumsy cedar pole, I fixed an awkward slide. My wagon pulled so heavy now that Betsy could not ride. And next we got to Washington, where we stayed a little while, to see if April showers would make the verger smile. But oh, I was mistaken, and so I went away, for the red hills of November looked just the same in May. I feel so weak and hungry now, there's nothing here to cheer, except prophetic sermons, which we very often hear. They will hand them out by dozens and prove them by the book. I'd rather have some roasting ears to stay at home and cook. The hot winds whirl around me and take away my breath. I've had the chills and fever till I'm nearly shook to death. All earthly tribulations are but a moment here. And oh, if I prove faithful, a righteous crown I'll wear. My wagon sold for sorghum seed to make a little bread. And poor old Jim and Bolly long ago are dead. There's only me and Betsy left to hoe the cotton tree. May heaven help the Dixieite, wherever they may be. This last verse was added now, generations later, in celebration of the strength, service, and sacrifice of our pioneer heritage. We love our town of Washington, where Dixie first began. They did the work, they did their time, every woman, child, and man. With sacrifice and service, we flourished and we grew. May Utah's Dixie reign forever true.
What'd you think about the last verse? So the other day at City Hall, I was looking through some of the archives, and I found a plat map of the original grid of Washington City, dated 1861. And as I looked at 200 East Street, where the Robert and Malinda Covington home is, I recognized that the original name of that street was Covington Street. So today, in honor of Malinda, Robert, and their family, we felt it was only fitting that we would add a historical marker on 200 East, renaming it Covington Street. If you live there, don't worry, your address won't change, but this is going on top. Just a few closing remarks. By placing the Malinda Allison Kelley Covington statue amongst the strong men who settled Washington, honors all the pioneer women who helped lay the foundation for what our city is today. Pioneer women like Malinda were strong and held true and faithful to their mission to build up our now thriving community. Through much sacrifice and with an abundance of the Dixie spirit, pioneer women stood shoulder to shoulder with their male counterparts to ensure the quality of life that we now enjoy. Washington City is forever grateful for its pioneer women's strength, sacrifice, and spirit. Now, a special thank you to Utah Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson. You were amazing. And everyone else that took the time to join us today. Thanks to the Washington City Youth Council for having the vision and for their fearless leader, advisor, Carmen Snow. To leave an ongoing and lasting legacy, memorialized with Malinda. A special thank you to Jerry Anderson for the beautiful bronze statue of Malinda that he sculptured. We want to acknowledge Priscilla Cahoon, some of you will recognize her name, that worked with him in paving the way to see this seed she planted now bloom. Because of her dream, Malinda's statue will stand for years to come. We know Priscilla is crying with pride and sharing our joy looking down on us today. And please stand, Youth Council. Thank you to the young women of the Youth Council who portrayed the other pioneer women who established Washington as the live statue that shares also their story. Thank you to those that contribute to the funding of Malinda's statue, the City Council for the RAP tax funding, the Youth Council, the community and individuals, Rook Club, Fab 14, members of Utah Daughters of the Pioneers, businesses, Lions Club, and Historical Society and Arts Council. You made this day possible. If any of you here with us today contributed, please stand so that we may recognize you with applause. Strength, sacrifice, and spirit is exemplified by all of the women here in Washington City, but I'd like to take just a moment off script, Carmen, if that's okay, to give a special recognition, Councilman. If I could have Carmen, Gail, the Lieutenant Governor, Sherry, Fawn, and my wife Lynette come forward. I just wanted to give you just a little thank you for your pioneering efforts today. Please come forward. Okay, we'll wind this down. So, we invite you to join us for a full week of fun celebrating Cotton Days. This is just the kickoff. On April 25th, tomorrow, Tuesday at 6 p.m., we'll have the grand opening and ribbon cutting of our Sunrise Valley Park, 685 South Country Way. I will plant a tree in honor of Arbor Day this month. You are also encouraged to bring your bikes, honoring National Bike Month. On Thursday, April 27th, there will be a free concert in the park with the Bellevue Band, Caden and his wife, Summer Bell, right here at Veterans. On April 28th, Friday at 6 p.m., we'll have our traditional historical night, free ice cream, wagon rides to the Covington home for live tours by the Washington City Youth Council, and end the night by throwing your blankets under the stars and enjoying the free movie in the park, which starts at sunset. The 29th on Saturday is a very full day. I'll go quickly. If you're ambitious, there's a 5K at 6 a.m. 7:30, the Lions Club will be out here cooking breakfast. At 7:30, we'll do the inaugural Mayor's Walk. I'll talk about some of the historical sites on the north side of Telegraph. At 10 a.m., the traditional park activities and vendor exhibits, games, and more will be right here at Veterans. There will also be a car show at Nyson Park, a heritage show at the Relief Society building with local arts, Western poetry, music, weaving, and then at 11 a.m., the tractor pull right here on the vacant lot is always a crowd favorite. And also be sure to remember the parade that starts at 9 a.m. And then also keep an eye out for what's happening across the street here. You might have some new food options that will start Saturday and continue on. Also, April 30th in the old rec hall, there will be a presentation that begins at 6 p.m. It's actually a play from locals called Strength, Sacrifice, and Spirit, Stories of the Pioneer Women that Helped Settle the Dixie Cotton Mission. And then it should be a lot of fun, and refreshments will be served afterwards. Two last things. Thank you all for coming. Take time to visit the museum right here in the old school. And all of our exhibits are open at Veterans Park here until 7:30 p.m. And for those of you that received the invitation, there's a private reception in the old rec hall. And Jim Seavey and George Staley Band, it's time for some postlude music.